All right. So I'm going to call on one person to answer both of these questions. Let's start with Josh. Josh, what is Prospero saying in lines 1 to 11? And then what do these lines reveal about Prospero?
Okay, wait, first, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, all right, good, just making sure.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, so basically what he's saying is that if he's really hurt Ferdinand and if he suffered a bit throughout all this, it was really just a test to see if he was worthy of having his daughter, which he deems that he was worthy.
Very good.
And what this is revealing is that even though it was already his plan for this to happen, he wanted to make sure that he made the right choice because he didn't want Miranda to be sad or something that would make her unhappy by doing this. So he still did care about what his daughter wanted.
Very good. So in this section, we see that he truly does care about Miranda, right? It's not just all about his revenge. And this is a different side of Prospero that we're seeing now. Before, we've seen him kind of care, he doesn't want to make her unhappy, but now we're really seeing like he wants to ensure that she has true happiness, okay? So we see his focus kind of shifting from his revenge to Miranda's happiness here, okay? So I'll add that in my comment as well. He is shifting his focus to Miranda. Okay, very good. Thank you, Josh. All right, so moving forward, and again, I will upload this annotated version along with a video of this. So if you're struggling to keep up, don't stress. You can always go back in and it will be posted before the time that it's due. Okay, so don't stress. All right, so your next one is dealing with lines 24 to 30, and there's technically going to be 3 questions for this one. The first one is dealing with what do these lines 24 to 30, reveal about Ferdinand's values, okay? And then building on that, Prospero approves of what he says right here. So why would he have been pleased with that? What does that then show us about Prospero and Miranda's relationship? So I'm going to give you about 2 minutes here to kind of explain what this reveals here, and then move into these 2 questions, okay? So 2 minutes, I'll set a timer on my phone for you guys, and I will let you know when it's up. All right, 2 minutes for the next 3 questions. And I will be calling on 2 people for this one, just so you guys know. About 1 more minute. About 30 more seconds for you guys, and then I'll be calling on 2 people. 1 for the Ferdinand question, 1 for the Prosperos. All right, so let's hear from someone to say, what do they think lines 24 to 30 reveal about Ferdinand's values? Let's hear from Ethan. Ethan, can you share with us what you think this reveals about Ferdinand's values? Ethan, are you there? Yes, I can see the chat. Do you want to type it out, or I will call on someone else? But I need you to tell me like right now. Okay, he values peace and a blessed relationship. So that's very true. So in this, we see him, oh, you added, and is willing to protect his lover, okay, or Miranda, very good. So in this, we see just before here, Prospero had asked Ferdinand to ensure that they keep a pure relationship until they are married, or in other words, that they're not going to engage in any sexual relations until they've actually had their marriage ceremony. And we see him saying, yes, that is what I want. Specifically in the lines where it says, for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, nothing could ever melt mine honor into lust, okay? So in those two lines right here, we see him respecting Prospero's wishes, which shows that he does value the same things as Prospero, okay? So I'm gonna add that into here. He is respecting Prospero's wishes. He values the same things as him, okay? Now, why would Prospero have been pleased to have heard this response? Let's hear from Pearson. Pearson, why do you think Prospero might have been pleased to hear that?
Because it's his own value as well.
It's what was that?
It's his own values as well. So.
Yeah, and he, with his value, he's not just saying this because he wants them to be pure for no reason. He thinks that is the right and like morally correct thing to do. So he's hearing that the person that his daughter is going to get married to is morally sound, okay? And that's a pleasing thing for him to hear, okay? So I'm going to write that. He is hearing that the man his daughter will marry is morally sound. Make this a little bit smaller for you guys so you can read it. Okay, it's a little small there, but if you zoom in, you can read that. So what does this then show us about Prospero and Miranda's relationship, Pearson? What do you think?
I didn't do that one yet.
You didn't get that one yet?
I think it means like he cares about his daughter.
Yeah, this whole thing just shows that he values Miranda and he wants her to be taken care of, right? So we see that he cares about his daughter. So he cares about his daughter. He wants her to be taken care of. Okay, very good. Thank you, Pearson. All right, so we see throughout this first half of this scene, the first half of this conversation, really, that Prospero truly does care about his daughter. One of the questions on your comprehension questions from the previous class was to defend that claim. That was part one. So any of these things from this first portion of the conversation could have fit as evidence for that claim, okay? And it would have been something good that you could have analyzed. All right, we're gonna move forward. This one is dealing with Ariel and how Prospero views Ariel versus how he views Caliban. So he's calling on Ariel to put on this performance for everyone. And he says, dearly, my delicate Ariel. So he calls him or references him as delicate, and he says dearly to kind of start that conversation. So what tone is Prospero using with these lines? And that's what I want you to write first for number one. And then for number two, how does this tone contrast how he talks to Caliban, who is technically his other servant? So go ahead and take about a minute and a half, actually a minute for this one. It's not too complicated. A minute for this one. I'll set a timer for you guys and let you know when it is up, and I'll call on someone. About 30 more seconds for you guys.
Miss Condos, I have a question.
Yes.
For the asides, like, is it also like basically them like speaking their thoughts out loud so we know that their thought?
Yeah. So they're also typically going to be for us. The audience it's for the audience. Yeah. Mhm. The only time that's going to be different is if it's aside to someone else, then it also is including that other person in there.
Yeah.
It's like what we saw with Antonio and Sebastian.
All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this. So what tone is Prospero using with Ariel here? Let's hear from Angelina. Angelina, what tone is being used with Ariel? Angelina?
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, I just forgot to unmute.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure about this one.
Okay, so if I was to address you by saying like, oh, dearly, my delicate Angelina, like how would you think I felt about you?
Oh, like he cares?
Yeah, it's a caring, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a caring, loving tone, right? I'm not being disrespectful in any manner. I'm just showing you that I care for you, right? So you'd want to add that into the tone, okay? This is a caring / loving tone towards Ariel. Okay. Now, how is that different than how he addresses Caliban? I'm going to have you, Angelina, still answer this one now that you know it's a loving, caring tone. How is this different than how he talks to Caliban?
Oh, because to Caliban, he's his slave, so he treats him like a slave. So he's not really caring to him.
Yeah, he does not care about Caliban. His tone is never caring or loving. He references him as slave, the devil, disgusting, ugly. He calls him all sorts of nasty names. So we see a harsh contrast in how he talks to Ariel versus how he talks to Caliban. So let's write in here, he never shows love towards Caliban. References him as the devil. Okay, so a very unloving tone towards Caliban. Very good. Thank you. So we see, even though he does have the ability to show love, he is very choosy about who he does this to. And we see that very clearly with Ariel and Caliban, okay? So moving in to the next one, and again, I'll be posting this if you're falling behind a little bit. It's going to get into the play that Ariel and his other spirits are putting on. So picking up about line like 106, where Juno is talking and Ceres is talking, you're going to explain what they're saying here very briefly. And then why do you think Prospero would have had the spirits perform this? Why would he have wanted them to say this? Okay. So I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes for this one. And then I'll be calling on someone to share their response, okay? About 1 more minute for you guys. You guys want to see my dog? You can look at the camera right now. All right, 5 seconds. And here we go. So I'm going to call on someone for this one. Let's hear from Jomo. Jomo, what are Juno and Ceres saying here? Or what do you think they're saying?
They're saying like you will live, like great happy lives, but then like at the end of the song they're kind of like warning him like that scarcity will shun you. So kind of like if you like, I guess my guess here is like if you spend too much money or you like don't think about it, then you'll like regret it, I think.
Okay, so okay, close. So definitely that their marriage would be blessed, right? And they want them to have good things. But really at the end of this, it's saying they're hoping that they never have a time that is bad in their marriage, that they don't go through a so-called like winter or scarcity period. So they're hoping or blessing them that they won't have that. Does that make sense? Kind of?
Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Okay, so they are blessing their marriage and hope they never go through, no, sorry, the dog's barking, go through a time of hardship, okay? Now, Joe, I'm gonna still ask this question to you. Why do you think Prospero would have wanted them to act this out?
Maybe to like maybe signify like their happiness, but at the same time warn them that maybe there might be like a scarcity to like prepare for.
Okay, so again, keeping in mind they're not saying that there is going to be a scarcity. They're hoping that there won't be, right?
Right, they hope, but like could kind of
but
be.
They could.
Money, yeah.
Okay. So maybe just to like again to put emphasis on blessing the marriage, but to just be prepared that there could be hard times.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
So to put emphasis on the blessing of the marriage, but also warn that they could go through hard times and to be prepared. Okay, good. Which I guess would align with what Prospero has found in the relationships that he's had, specifically if we focus in on the relationship that he had with his brother, right? That it was good at times, but then he went through hardships that they didn't get to survive their familial relationship in. So he's kind of warning them against that a little bit. Very good. All right, moving forward into the next one. And we're going to skip, I believe, this page, or to the very end of this page. Yeah, here we go. So talking about an aside, okay? So Prospero gives an aside, and we talked about this a little bit, but I want you to really think for this question is why would Shakespeare have chosen to have Prospero speak in an aside at this very moment? Why is an aside necessary here, okay? Think about who's in the room, who could be listening to this, what his motives are, all of those kind of things. So go ahead and answer that question. I'm going to give you just 1 minute for this one. About 30 seconds. Nine, or like 8 seconds. All right, let's hear from Sophia. Sophia, what do you think? Why would Shakespeare have chosen to have Prospero speak in an aside at this very moment?
Well, I wasn't completely sure, but I put that he didn't want to involve Ferdinand and Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to, like, worry them, or
Yeah,
he doesn't want to know what's going to happen.
No, that's exactly correct, right? So this entire time, he's been trying to keep his revenge plan and what's going on with everybody else on the island a secret, right? And he's talking about how he's been listening into these other conversations and how people are now trying to kill him. He would not want to worry Miranda, knowing how caring she is. And this could bring up questions in Ferdinand, like, wait, do you know more? Do you know stuff that happened to my father? Do you know what happened to the shipwreck? Like, tell me more, right? So he's trying to avoid involving them. And that's a perfect reason to have an aside, right? Keep a secret conversation. So he is trying to avoid letting them know what is happening, needs an aside for this. Very good. Thank you, Sophia. All right. We're going to move forward. This one is talking about Prospero kind of saying goodbye. I'm going to explain this one to you versus you guys going in and doing this yourself. This one's a little complicated, and I really do want you guys to understand this. So make sure you're listening and making note. Go ahead, if you're not using my PDF, highlight line roughly 149 all the way down to where Prospero finishes talking. So like line 163, okay? So in these lines, I'm going to read them to you, and then I'll explain what he's saying. So in these lines, it says, these are actors, and he's responding to Ferdinand saying, like, where did everyone go? Like, what happened? This is so cool. He's saying, these are actors, as I foretold you, we're all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yeah, all which it inherits, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a rack behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness, my old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind. So in this moment, he's responding to Ferdinand by saying, everyone who's been here right now have been actors, they've been spirits, they disappeared, okay? And he's saying, just like this whole thing, my whole play just disappeared, so will everything else on this earth, and so will we. We will eventually disappear too. Nothing lasts forever. And it causes him then to be very conflicted, which we see right here where he says, sir, I am vexed. I need to just think and be by myself. So this reveals that Prospero's mindset at this point is conflicted. He's realizing that he spent most of his life focusing in on what people have done wrong to him and getting back the power that was taken from him just to get revenge. And he has forgotten about all of the things that truly matter, right? So this love, this relationship that's growing between Ferdinand and Miranda is making him realize what really matters in life. And it's not getting the revenge, rather it's having those relationships and feeling the emotions that come along with that, okay? So we see him starting to realize he might have been prioritizing things a little different than he should have been. So basically, he is saying that everything, just like this fake play, will disappear, okay? And this troubles him. So this reveals a conflict in how he is feeling about his revenge plan. Type those in there. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about that one? I know it, like I said, it's a little complicated. I didn't want you guys to have to do that one on your own. Okay. Any questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
So we assume that he's really is saying this seriously and not just a excuse to get out of this situation?
Yes. Yeah, because we see him very much so giving in to the happiness of this situation. And because of that, we see that it is genuine. So even though it's happening simply because he's realizing that Caliban is coming to kill him, and that's part of it, but because that's what's triggered this, we see how lost in emotion he was with his daughter and Ferdinand, right? And so because he just got reminded of his revenge, he's now feeling conflicted. Like, I want to engage in this happiness, but I've been so focused on revenge, I don't get to do that. So we see him being torn between that. Okay. All right, we are going to move forward, and we'll skip down to a little bit later on here. So in this, I want you to answer, who is Prospero talking about here? And what do these lines reveal about his feelings towards that person? Okay, so who is he mainly talking about here? And I'm looking for one person. So go ahead and take a minute to answer this one. This one's pretty simple as well. So I'll put a timer for a minute. About 30 seconds. Ten seconds. And go ahead and pause. Let's hear from Emily. Emily, who is Prospero talking about here?
I was honestly kind of confused for this one.
Okay.
I think he might be talking about like Antonio, like the devil, and
Okay.
I like blames it on him, but I'm not sure.
Okay, so he's actually talking about Caliban here, okay? So why we know it's Caliban, he's consistently called Caliban the devil multiple times. So we also know when he says, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken all lost, quite lost. So we know that once upon a time, Prospero tried to teach or like nurture Caliban, but his nature of being the devil will never allow him to teach him anything. So he's saying all the pain I went through to try to help Caliban has gone to waste. It's all lost. And then he says, and with age, his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. So he's saying, and as he's grown and gotten older, he's just gotten worse. And I will make sure that I will hurt them or plague them all that are with them. So he's referencing what they're going to do with Caliban, Stefano, and Trinculo. Okay. Does that make sense when it's broken down?
Yeah.
Thumbs up if you're like, yeah, that makes sense. He was talking about him. Okay, good. So very plainly put, he strongly dislikes Caliban. Okay, in a very nice way. Very good. So we're going to skip this next page because this next page is all a picture. And then we're going to get on to the very last page. You guys can go ahead and skip this next one with Caliban and Trinculo and Stefano's conversation. Basically, all it's doing in here is that Trinculo and Stefano are ignoring Caliban's wishes to kill Prospero, and it shows that they're not very focused on that alliance. It's really just Caliban's wishes. Now, I want you to read this question at the bottom, and this is the last question you have to answer. And we're not going to talk about this. We'll talk about this when we get back from break. So you're going to answer this, and then you can submit your annotations if you have them done. If you need to take pictures, take pictures. Oh my gosh, Sarah, that puppy is adorable. Okay, sorry. So the question is, after reading this scene, does it seem like Prospero is completely focused on his revenge plan? And I want you to kind of explain yourself very briefly. I'm looking for maybe 2 sentences here, nothing more than that. All you need is a citation. You don't need to write out a quote, but what makes you think he's either completely focused or not completely focused? Okay, so that is what you need to do. That is your final annotation for today. And when you're done with that, you can submit it and you have nothing to think about in terms of English until we get back from break. Okay. Are there any questions?
Bye, Miss
You have
Condos.
to,
If you're good, you can go and just make sure you submit this, okay?
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear the last. What are we supposed to do for this last quote?
The last
you.
question. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
The last question is, after reading this whole scene, does it seem like Prospero is completely focused on his revenge plan? I just want you to briefly explain if you think he is completely focused or not.
Okay.
And then why? What took place during this scene that made you think so?
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
do we need to do the other two
Okay, all you need is a citation, or you can briefly comment on a situation.
questions on this page?
No, just this one. This is all you need to do.
There's 2 things above.
Don't worry about that
All
one.
right.
Yep, skip
Miss
those.
Condos,
Yes.
when we turn in the annotations, is it just the pages we did today?
Yeah, it's just the pages we did today. Did you do it in your book?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just take pictures of the pages that have actual annotations on.
Okay, did we ever submit any of the other ones?
Nope, just
Or-
this one.
Oh, okay, thank
Just
you.
this one. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then you got my email, right, with the attachments?
I did, yes. I haven't updated the grades yet, but I will be.
Okay, and I found my third comprehension question part, the
Okay.
third part of it. I just
Okay.
found it that there's a few that aren't answered yet. So
Okay, so finish answering them and then email them to me, but they need to be emailed by tomorrow at 4, or else you can't get credit, okay?
Miss Condos, I resubmitted the
Okay.
speech
Perfect.
Okay. See you, Miss Condos, every day.
Perfect. Have a great day. Enjoy your break. Any other questions, guys? No? All right, are we good?
Thank you, Miss Condos.
You're welcome, Anthony. Have a great break.
You too.
Bye.